Welcome back, everybody, to the Autism Exchange podcast. I'm Michael Coldiron, joined by Janis Krempa. How are you, Janis?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Um,
Excellent.
Guys, Autism Exchange podcast, you know by now we want to communicate and collaborate. We want to foster real conversation that is really relatable. The point here is just to allow people to be people, share their experiences, come together, and in doing so, we have been very fortunate to pull out some very, 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 very awesome stuff that is useful in our personal lives, our professional lives, and at its core, I think we really just want to be human beings and respect other human beings for being the same and find out where that stuff is. Janice,
Absolutely.
what's new? What's going on? Tell me something good.
Well, let's see, what is new? I got a video today that was sent to me by my daughter. She was walking the dog, and it's pollen season here, so it's that yellow goopiness. We actually talked about it a couple weeks ago, and so
Yep.
now it's like thick. You can actually measure it in millimeters, and so our dog Lovell, it's a female dog, but it's named after Jim Lovell. It was a litter of rescue dogs, and they were called the Astro Pups. And so she, I don't know why, but got the name Lovell. So anyway, so Lovell was thrilled to go out, and Caroline usually takes her by the creek, and so Lovell got a chance to go in the water, and she sent me a video, and Lovell is having just a bananas time. She's so excited and
Aw.
so happy. And so I was out and I came home and I thought, oh, come here. I'm so happy you had. She smelled so bad. So I don't know what was in the creek, but she smelled so bad. So all day today, I'm thinking, where exactly do we have enough of the dog shampoo? Is there really a difference between dog shampoo and real shampoo? Could I use like whatever we need? I need to get thee to a bath quickly. So, but
Well,
yeah,
that
that's what I've got going on.
it's well, that's the thing. Especially if you live where I live, you never know what a smell's coming from until you do like a deep dive. Because you're talking about horses, goats, chickens, ducks,
That's true.
dogs, wild
True.
animals that don't belong to you. You smell something, you have to think long and hard about what it is. Did I ever tell you the story about accidentally catching a skunk in the barn hall?
No, you did not.
So, okay,
No.
we had raccoons and possums that were trying to kill the chickens, like regularly, and it took a lot of work to keep them from getting in there. But if they did, they would kill
You
them.
should have sent them to Denmark. I'm sorry.
There's a throwback to the last episode you guys have not heard, or maybe you have by now. I love that.
Couldn't help it.
No, I
Okay,
love that. So,
continue.
truthfully, if I could have caught them, I would have euthanized them and sent them to Denmark so the tigers could eat them. That was good. No, so I put this live trap in there. You catch them, they're alive, whatever. And I went back later, like a day later, middle of the day. Kirsten and the boys wanted to ride on the side by side. They call it the jungle. Let's go to the jungle. Just drive through the woods. Anyway, stopped to check that thing and open the barn door. And there in the middle of the barn, in a cage, is a skunk that's alive, and
Oh,
it's like sleeping because it's the middle of the day. What do you do? Like, you don't walk up to it and grab the cage, right?
nope.
But you can't
Nope.
quote unquote take care of the problem a la Denmark right there in the moment, because then it's still, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's just a bad thing. So I opted for the latter, and I'll skip some of this for graphic nature. We do keep a non-explicit podcast here, so we don't click that button that explicit material is involved. So anyway, it was eliminated, and as it was eliminated, it also eliminated its scent gland in my barn hall, and
Oh no.
yeah, that was not cool. How did this happen? Oh, smells in the creek. Got it.
Smells in the bond. I have two things I want to ask you about that. Number one is, would it have been possible to put like a tarp over the cage? Was it like a kennel type cage? Could you have put a tarp over the cage and then like put something under it to carry it out? You know how like if you have a bee or something and you put a jar over the bee and then you like put a piece of paper under it and you take it outside and you release it? Is like that kind of like, it's like a physics question, but you know what I'm saying, right?
You know what the door of one of the plastic dog kennels looks like? Like the mesh wire,
Yeah,
the little squares in it?
right.
That in a full rectangle is what a live trap is. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in theory, but how do you get to it without getting sprayed?
Right. Gotcha.
I since
Okay.
learned there's a
Okay.
trick. You can hold a sheet up really wide and move like super slow, but apparently they won't spray something they can't see. So if you move slow enough and you've got this big giant single colored whatever, then they won't. So hopefully it never happens
I'm just
again.
imagining standing there holding up a sheet, moving at the lion pace of like a half a centimeter an
Listen, I
hour.
would have done anything. I would have crawled on my belly if it meant I didn't get sprayed by that thing. And I didn't get sprayed, but it sure did linger in the air, and it gets on your clothes even if it doesn't spray you. It's a nasty thing. That's
Yeah.
probably enough about skunks, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so nothing really new here either. I'm thrilled as always that we're rocking and rolling with the Autism Exchange. This has been so
Yes.
fun and I don't know, fulfilling in a way that I didn't know it could be. And it's, I think
Absolutely.
the cherry on top is that we didn't force it. Like we didn't say, here's what we want to accomplish. Here's what here's what our goals for today are. I've said it now twice and, to you, and it's that our plan is to have no plan. Um,
Yep.
that's cool. Good.
Which is huge because, Michael, you have known me longer than we've done this podcast, and you know my absolute adoration for lists and outlines. And so it is an exercise every single time to not have a list or not have an outline. And I got to tell you, between you and me, don't let word get out. It's really fun this way.
Well, but
I don't I don't know that I could do it in many other areas of my life, but this is it's it's good stuff. I don't know why anybody didn't tell me this earlier. This is so much
you
fun.
just didn't know me early enough. You know, it's funny. Before I had children, this was how I lived all the time. Like you could call and say, do you want to go fly kites at the lake tomorrow at 8 a.m.? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then now I have kids and I'm like, did you say tomorrow 8 a.m.? Kids won't be in bed till 8:30 or 9, then they'll probably get up at 6:30. Can we get them to, can we do that? It just becomes, anyway.
It's
I hi-
like working backwards with math. I get it. I
yeah,
totally
I
get it.
highly
Yeah.
recommend though having no plan for some, not all areas of life because it's quite comfortable when you really strip it down. Speaking
Yes.
of
Well,
having children,
yes, and speaking of having no plan, the person you are about to meet, this is a heavy hitter guest. I gotta tell you, Michael, this is a heavy hitter guest.
uh-huh.
And it's a heavy hitter guest because it's also like my palms are a little sweaty. And we've met some amazing people, but my palms are a little sweaty right now. Yeah, this is an amazing person. She's extraordinary, and you're about to find out why. And one of the millions of reasons of why she's so extraordinary is because I'm a person who loves words, and every day she teaches me a new word. And in fact, just about, I don't know, 13 minutes ago, she taught me a new word called momsplaining. And that's new to me. That's People probably have said that behind my back for a long time. I did not know that, but now I know what momsplain is, or I think I do. But here to explain it even further is my daughter, Caroline.
Hi, Caroline.
Caroline.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. It's I know what we were just talking about. The plan is no plan. Like I know that can be uneasy for a lot of people, but I think it takes some nerve and some willingness to show up and let us goof off and pick your brain on some stuff. But I told you guys right before we clicked record that I want to just be quiet and let you guys introduce what you want to introduce. And I'm a pretty nosy person, so I'm sure I'll stick my nose in and ask some questions along the way.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Caroline, I'm going to jump in first. So you've heard me say and talk about my home, my country, and I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast with people. And it's when we sort of talk about what are the things that we do in our home. What are some of the rules or some of the things that we do, like for holidays or just every day, and we know how we sort of like live our lives with whoever gets the short straw that has to walk the dog, those kinds of things. Do you have anything that you want to share for our home? Maybe not our home, my country. Maybe it's your home, your country, and the space of your room and and the rules of your room.
I guess as a senior in high school, I gotta say I am very excited to move out next year and go to college. Um, and
Ouch.
I have been like
Okay,
pretty
edit,
mature.
edit, edit. No, go ahead. I'm teasing you, honey.
I've been like prematurely living that out. I spent a lot of time in my room because I'm like so busy at school all day. So being at home after that, after school, after work, while doing homework, it's kind of nice just to have that place by myself where like I can feel unbothered and alone. And it is tough because my parents like to knock on my door every few minutes and ask how I am and if I need any grapes or if they if I can go play ping pong, and that's more my dad. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I do think of my home and especially my room as a space for me where I can feel safe and comforted, and yeah, kind of like my country.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Well,
it. Thank you.
so what and correct me if I'm wrong, and I can apply this to myself. Like your sort of comfortable space is quiet, right? Am I hearing that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, a couple years ago, we have a sensory room here at the clinic, and we use that. We think like, oh, so and so's having a hard time. Let's go to the sensory room and let them chill out. And then we had someone who has their expressive language who is on the autism spectrum, and they walked in there and like, I would never use this sensory room because it is so overstimulating. Look how flashy, look how bright. And it was really telling to me. But I'm with you in that a quiet place, sometimes even dark quiet, but like quiet in general, is very comforting. It allows me to turn my brain off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it doesn't even have to be like calm or dark. Like I think having a lot of different stimuli would be interesting. But just something familiar is something that I would like. Like my room is very distinct looking. I have posters of like artists that I like, shows that I like, or posters that I've gotten from like traveling or little art fairs recently. And I have like trinkets and photos and like string lights. I never use like the big light. I always have like lamps and other lights. And I think it's just like a space that represents me, which just allows me to feel more comfortable in.
That's awesome. And I think
That's awesome.
familiarity is comfortable for a lot of people. It really doesn't matter what you're familiar with as long as you're familiar with it.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. That's like that's an interesting way to put that. Actually, both Caroline and Michael to think about, I always think about either adding something or taking something away to make it more comfortable and to make it calmer, or to add something to, make it something more. But it's sort of good to be reminded that sometimes it just needs to be familiar, not necessarily more or less, but just sort of familiar and meaningful. And that's what's comforting about it. So thank you, Caroline. So, Caroline, you know that Michael and I have the Autism podcast, the Autism Exchange podcast. And, but I kind of wanted to ask you to come on or consider coming on, just because I think you have an interesting perspective that, we don't just talk about autism, we talk about a lot of different things on the podcast. But one of the things that I wanted to sort of pick your brain apart about, or pick your brain on, is, we've talked before in the past about how sometimes, your brain gets a little overwhelmed and a little bit of, maybe like an ADHD situation might creep in a little bit. And, but I don't want to say any more words because I want you to use the words that you feel more comfortable with. So can you just tell me a little bit about what your brain is like? And because you've heard me over the years and you're like, Mom, enough about it. Like, and so I've learned to not do like, I have an idea, which is, thinly veiled for strategy. But I guess I never really, had a chance to sit down and ask you, what's, tell me about you and your brain and yeah, how you learn school and friends and being at home and what that's like, and having a dog, and what that's like if you have things to manage and juggle on your schedule and things like that. Do you know what I'm asking, Michael? Do you want to?
I
Am I asking
Yeah.
this in too many words, or Caroline, you got this? Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'll talk.
Quit mom's planning.
I know.
I
I
was
did it
gonna say that
again.
was a lot of mom's playing. That was a lot of words.
Let
Um,
me ask it. Let me ask it the Michael way. Hey, Caroline, what goes on
Okay.
between your ears? What's up?
same thing. Two very different ways to ask it. Um, definitely, definitely a big question. Um, I'm honestly trying to figure that out. I want to study psychology and neuroscience, so that is definitely a question I want to figure out more scientifically.
Yeah.
Sorry, the wind is really loud right now. I don't know if that's messing up the audio,
No, you sound great.
but okay. Um, let's see. I think it's my brain is on a lot of things at once.
Hmm.
I think it's really hard for me to focus on a certain specific topic and kind of go into how that works and the different steps my brain takes because it takes so many steps. Um,
Hmm.
I do take ADHD medication. I take Ritalin or like was it methylphenidate was the actual name, and I do think it helps me a lot. I've had to go up in dosage over the years, but I feel like it just kind of calms my brain down a bit, where
Hmm.
I feel like I can actually stay focused or like locked on in class. Like I can listen to my teacher and not feel the need to like have to do something with my hands while listening to the teacher, do something with my feet, or like talk to someone else and have four different side conversations at once. So I feel like most of the time my brain is very busy, if that could be a word to describe it. Um, and sometimes that's good. Like it keeps me energized, keeps me active, keeps me thinking about a lot of things at once and curious and ready to learn. But a lot of times, especially in times where I need to be calmer and more still and focused, it is not helpful.
That is remarkable, and like for that to have been such a big question asked, one in a big way and two in a small way. No offense, mom's planning. Um, I think your answer to that is actually super super detailed and actually gives me a really good glimpse of what it might feel like. And I think, and this is certainly not me saying Caroline has a blah 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 diagnosis of blah blah blah. That's not what I'm saying. But like I think in general, people tend to make those comments about ADHD and OCD, right? Like at some point in a conversation, somebody has said like, "Oh, I'm so OCD. Oh, I'm so ADHD." But I think that makes it misunderstood, don't you?
I definitely do. I definitely do. I really don't like how those terms have become so common and
Mm-hmm.
normalized. Obviously not going to name names here, but my mom and I both know who we're talking about when I talk about this one ex-friend that I had, and she was kind of not a great friend to me, and she made me choose between two of my best friends, and at the time she was one of them, and she told me that it was because she had trauma from a friend group in eighth grade that she tried to join because she liked a guy, and then they didn't really like her because she wasn't a great friend to them. That's besides the point. But I just thought, I was like, oh, that's not really trauma. That's kind of just the eighth grade. Like, that's just kind of a universal eighth grade experience.
Yeah,
Or at least for eighth grade girls, I have to say. So that was just like one example I could think of people saying that. And it kind of feels like I'm being a little bit discredited. Not like I have like, trauma or anything of that sorts. But when I hear people say like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like I need to have like a squishy or like a fidget toy
hmm,
with me. I'm so ADHD. Or like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry I got distracted. I have ADHD. And it's kind of like, no, I mean, like, yes, maybe you do, or maybe it's like a lesser form, but it kind of bothers me when they use it as like a fun, silly quirk instead of something, because it's really affected like my grades and my teacher relationships in positive or negative ways, and like my time management skills, which is like consequently affected like my sleep and my mental health. And it's a lot larger of a part in my life than I think a lot of people realize. So I really don't really appreciate it when it's just played off as like a little personality trait.
absolutely. It is a big thing, and you're talking about trauma, and almost not like I disagree with anything you said, but when you describe trauma, it almost sounds like you feel like you have to defend it. Like, what size is the trauma? You might have gotten scratched on the arm instead of punched in the face, but still, it's trauma. And I think it doesn't really matter what it is, or like how big it is, or how big of an event it was. Like, if it's traumatic to you, it's traumatic to you, period. You know what I'm saying? And I also agree, and of course, Janice, sorry if you thought you were going to get a word in edgewise here. This is two in a row now. But um, I think it also lends itself to another question, and that's the social part. Like, it is really hard to, at your age, right? And you were talking about 8th grade, and now obviously you're much older than that, but like at this phase in life, you're constantly building relationships, and for one reason or another, they succeed or they fail, and that's just part of it. I think it's how we learn who we are and what makes us tick, and more about our home and our country. So,
Yeah.
Caroline, other than just the example of, hi puppy, other uh, other than just the example of what you said about someone who may use those terms, oh, I'm so ADHD, I need a fidget or whatever, have there been social challenges for you in any way?
Like, sorry, can you like rephrase that, like social challenges, because for me or for them?
Yeah, for you.
For me.
Actually, either,
Um,
whatever you're thinking.
Yeah.
um, I mean, in a way, I try not to talk about it or bring it up because that's not really like a fun subject of conversation for me, because it just ends like it just seems like I'm complaining. So I guess it's not, yeah, it's not really a topic that's brought up a lot within school or with my friends. And like, if it is brought up with someone else, like I'll say something like, oh yeah, like I relate to that. And maybe that makes me a little bit more connected to a person. But again, it's become so normalized that it's not really like a big thing that so many people can be like, oh yeah, I have ADHD too, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Caroline, when they say that, how, what are they communicating? Are they communicating like what is their intent in saying that? Do you feel like when you say I have ADHD and someone else says I have ADHD, is the intent the same, or like how do you know what I'm trying to get at? Like, what are they trying to
Mhm.
communicate? Is it like informational, like I want to tell you that I have this because X, Y, and Z, or are they saying it to relate, or like what do you, or there's 100 reasons why.
Yeah.
So what are your, what do you think?
I mean, certain times it can be used. Like, obviously, I don't know everyone's intents. I know sometimes it can be used to like justify actions, which I think it's different for every case. Like, I don't know, it's definitely different for everyone. Sometimes you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense, or it's like that seems a little bit like an excuse, but I can't be the judge of that, obviously. Um, and sometimes it can be used as like a way to bond with someone and talk about how like, oh yeah, we both struggle with this. Maybe we can like talk about it or discuss ways that we can help find solutions to this. Um, yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I was just wondering, because it's people are talking about it a lot, but I think everybody's connection to it is different. And I have to tell you, like, full disclaimer, when I thought about it, I initially first started thinking about it because I was working with it, right? Like, that was my part of my job, and there are a lot of overlaps between different diagnoses and things. So I thought I knew ADHD. But then when it was in my home, that was very different. And so I'm wondering for you, what does it feel like for you with, I lost my train of thought here. Like when I talk about strategies and all these things, and you were like rolling your eyes in the back of your head, I know that you were like, enough, enough, enough. But like, what is it like? How do you sort of manage things, and what is it like? And how do you feel about having ADHD, and what that's sort of like navigating through the day with that? Not that it's a bad thing, by the way. I think
Um,
there are a lot of positives, like you said. So I'm not saying that this, ogre that's following you around. I'm just saying it is, you know, it just is. That's all. It just is. So I was wondering. Okay, now I'll stop.
so the question is, what, like, how do I feel?
Yeah, just like what does that mean to you when you, as you move through your day,
Mhm.
knowing like, okay, this is part of what how I think and what I do and how I move through the day. And sometimes people get mad
Mhm.
at me or not get mad at me because I.
Right. Honestly, it's become more and more annoying over the years, especially as I've like tried multiple different types of medication and strategies for it. It's become more of like is this just something I'm stuck with, or like an
Mhm.
excuse when something goes wrong in my life? And I find that really hard. I don't like having to blame something that I do wrong on a part of me that I can't change. Um, and that's like the negative side of
Hmm.
it. But then other times it comforts me when I'm like, why does it take me multiple hours to do this assignment when it's taken my friends like 45 minutes? And then I realize like it's not to do with my intelligence um, or like my knowledge level because I know that I'm smart. It's just I think differently and like oh it's like oh yeah no you're special. It's like I just like I know that like I think differently than other people and I know it just does take me a little bit longer to do the same things that it takes other people to.
Yeah.
I am like so impressed by you. I mean, obviously, I care very much and think very highly of your mother. Um, but wow, Janice, I mean, I don't know if you're okay with second place in your household, but Caroline, like, I have to
It's been a comfortable spot for me for a while.
I have to remind myself of like your age, like you, and this is what stood out. So I'm taking notes as you talk because there are so many things that I want to know. But I also Janice and I or your mom and I. Well, that's difficult. Your mom and I are always very
No, Janice
careful.
and I is fine.
We're
I call
trying.
her Janice when I'm mad at her. I'm kidding.
Oh, there you go. Uh,
It just happened only twice. No.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Today. I'm kidding. Um,
Yeah.
so what we're really careful not to do is put you on a stage and then just like make you do tricks and tell us all your stuff and like that's not the point at all. So I don't want to over ask specific questions, but I guess if I were to not really ask a question but make a statement, you said something a minute ago that you said if I quote do something wrong end quote, then in your mind that whatever, and I that made me think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the empath in me says, how many times have you thought or maybe been told that you have done something wrong or been made to feel like you've done something wrong when in reality they're just putting a standard or a norm or an expectation on you that's not fair because you said it and I'm glad you did, and I love this about you already. You are very intelligent and you are very confident and you're a great communicator. So somebody who may try to put you in the shoebox of you have 30 minutes to do this test or 45 minutes to do this assignment, well, you might feel like you're doing wrong, but in reality, you're going to ace that bad boy when everybody who does it, quicker is going to not be good, which, by the way, I hear some congratulations as far as post-secondary education goes. I'm really looking forward to that for you. Congrats. But anyway, is that true at all? Like, do you feel like you're quote unquote doing wrong when maybe you're just doing things your way?
Definitely, I do feel like that. At least in certain cases, like writing school essays and whatnot, a lot of the times it's just like the organization and the structure. I love literary writing, literary analysis. English is one of my favorite classes. And like I do great in the discussions, but it's just the writing that I struggle with because just my brain works like a million miles at once. I have so many ideas and I find it so hard to narrow it down into one specific thesis statement and claim and like thematic idea and then come up with evidence to like match up with that and then analyze that specific evidence without going too fast or too far ahead. And I mean, you can ask my English teachers, definitely something I struggle with. But then also it comes in different forms, like you mentioned for tests, but like for my like standardized testing and like math tests, whatever, I haven't gotten accommodations for that. And I think I do fine with those topics, which I think is difficult in another sense because sometimes it could be like, oh, well, you don't actually have ADHD, you're just stuck at organization, which I've thought was the case because, like I said, it affects me in some ways more than other ways. Like certain subjects like English, as much as I love English, as much as I hate math, I do better at math tests than English essays because of the way they're, I guess, laid out and the way that I'm supposed to be taking them.
Yeah. When
Mm.
in reality, well, I'm not gonna go down I'm a dad. I'm not dad splaining anything here. Okay. I'm not doing it. I've learned my lesson. Um, but that is eye opening to me. And one skill that I have already had 3 or 4 examples of in just listening to you talk is your ability to read other people. And it really does feel like, I don't know how to make this make sense. For me, a lot of times it's like I only know my being, and then like there are other people around, and whatever impacts me, whatever doesn't. what I'm hearing from you that's repeated, and I promise there's a point to this, is that you're so in tune with all these other people around you and like understanding maybe where they're coming from or what you're feeling or why you think or say this or why you, all of those things. I think that is probably a beautiful part of ADHD because unfortunately you're so accustomed to having your brain in a bunch of places or moving so quickly, but it also has kind of given you, and I might be dead wrong, but maybe this is part of what's given you the ability to read people and juggle so many things all at once.
Hmm. I mean, I'm gonna be so honest. I don't know if that's like a trait of ADHD or if it's just me. Like I'm I'm really not sure. I guess with my parents working in the mental health fields, I've always been taught to think like my mom's like, "Oh, well, I heard about this in an earlier episode, like give them grace." Like whenever I'm thinking like, "Oh, this person is doing something that really hurts my feelings," or I have no idea why they would do that, I always think like, "Oh, well, if I told my mom about this, she'd say, what if this happened in their life beforehand?" So I think that's also a product of just how I was raised in my environments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to think it's a little bit of just myself. I'm right now thinking of ADHD as like a separate thing, but now I'm realizing as I'm speaking, it is a part of me and not like something separate that I can throw the blame on or take credit for. That was just me talking to myself. But
No, I like it.
I lost track of what I was saying. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you answered my question
No.
really well. And I was curious if you thought ADHD had anything to do with your ability to read other people and be such an empathetic person because you're obviously really good at that. Like I'm jealous of that. And Janice, if you need some tissues, I'll send some your way. She gave you all credit for it. I'm so happy for you. No,
And
no,
it's on tape.
it's recorded, but she might pay me to delete it. Um, that's cool.
Yeah, you guys have each other's phone numbers now, so
Yeah, no,
I'm
yeah.
not.
So you're in trouble now. Wow, with all these people in
I know.
your
I
life.
gotta say, I did think it was like a scam link because I've been getting a lot of links from like, you know, random numbers with area codes I don't recognize. And
Yeah.
they just send me a link out of nowhere. And I'm smart enough to know I probably shouldn't click on that link. So when I got the link for this call, I had no idea what mine was. And my mom was like, "Hey, Caroline, are you about to join?" And I was like, What link? Like, I'm not about to get a virus on my phone from trying to join a podcast.
Well, if you
You're
wanna,
not just
if you wanna know any proof that there's a huge generational difference, like that would have never occurred to me. Like, oh, maybe I should put my name. Like, hey, this is Michael. Your mom just gave me your number. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, bam, text the link. It's just so funny because that's so far off my radar. Um, I,
okay.
go ahead, Janice.
Well, I was gonna say two things. First of all, I was completely new about dad's planning, but I was completely unaware of mom's planning. So when you said dad's planning right now, Michael, I was like, well, that makes sense. But from our earlier conversation, I had no idea that mom's planning was a thing. I just thought that that was what needed to be said, but apparently not. So moving right along. But the other thing, so Caroline, I wanted to ask you, and I was trying to say it earlier, and I sort of lost my ability to have words about it. Is that saw ADHD as clinical. I'm like, oh, I know what to do with this. I have a strategy. And I know that. I think you tried for as long as possible to be patient with me for as long as possible when I said that I had yet another strategy. But I've never really asked you, what do you wish that I knew about the way that your brain works? That's not separate from my clinical experience.
Um, I mean, I wish I knew more personally. It's been just a lot of trial and error and figuring things out. So it's nothing that I obviously like blame you for or anything because I didn't know. Um, None of those strategies have really helped. Maybe like one or two here and there because it's not just the strategies, it's sticking to the strategies that is really, really hard for me. So I guess maybe that would have been useful for you to maybe understand. I guess it's just really hard as to relate to someone with something that they have that you maybe don't have a full experience with. Like I just feel like physically incapable, or I guess mentally incapable of doing certain things. And it's really taxing, and it's not super helpful to have someone be like, "Oh, it's just because of this, but I can fix that for you," and then it's not fixed.
Ah,
Ooh, I'm sorry.
No, that's great information
Yeah.
though, because I'm applying this to what my work is.
Hmm.
And in an episode that's not yet out, everybody is going to hear, hopefully you too, Caroline, is going to hear that like the version of us that used to be is constantly trying to grow and shape and become a better version of ourselves now. And one of the things we talked about, Caroline, was that we might have worked with younger people in the past who
Mhm.
who we did our best and tried what we thought was best for them because we love them. And then when they become articulate enough to be able to say, yes, this worked, no, this didn't, yes, I hated that, yes, I loved that, then we can use that information and shape it. And I think this is just proof positive that we were on the right track in that last conversation, too, right?
Yeah.
Wildly helpful to know. And I'm glad, too, that you said, though, Caroline, that maybe it's not necessarily that the approach was bad, but it's that your ability to stick to it was difficult. Because in and of itself, that's part of ADHD, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like I was trying to think of like an analogy while you were speaking, but it's like as I would say a vertically challenged person, I'm 5'2", and I get a lot of hate for that. It's like telling someone who's 5'2", that they like are like, hey, can you help me get something off the top shelf? And they're like, oh, well, just jump. Like, I jump. It helps for me to get to the top shelf. I'm like, yeah, but if I do that, it doesn't help. Or like, I actually can't. I can jump, but I can't get that high.
Mhm.
And it's just something that it's like you try your best, and then after a while, you just feel like you have to give up, or it's like something that's actually wrong with you that I can't fix.
Mm. Do you have, thank you for thank you for saying that, really. I mean that sincerely. Ooh, so, um, I have a surprise for you. You're gonna have a
Scary.
little sister, and she may
Whoa,
have
what?
Hold on.
ADHD,
Hold
and she's
on.
gonna have ADHD. No, no, no. And so
Whoa.
no, 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 no. If you had a sister and you knew that she sort of also shared some of the ADHD that you do, like what would you tell her? Like what would you want her to know as your little sister, as another person with ADHD, as someone who can, share rolling your eyes at mom who, like, oh, she's gonna come with strategy again. What would you tell a little sister who was sort of like a little you?
Okay. It's a lot. Honestly, I would try to just tell her that it's normal to feel the way she's feeling, but it's not anything about her intelligence or about her capability. It's just something that makes her think differently or act differently, but not in a bad way. And is unfortunate that it makes it harder, but it's also like a superpower in certain ways, where she's able to do multiple things at once and have like I'd say heightened like curiosity and creativity and just more ideas in general. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not
It
really sure. I
does.
haven't really thought about that.
You know,
Uh,
some of the, and I know you guys have heard this. I'm sure it's the most cliche thing in the world. Caroline's probably getting ready to make fun of me as an old man. I'm not old enough for you to do that yet, by the way. Um, the Some of the most famous people or some of the most accomplished people have been neurodivergent in some form, and that again we're not talking about diagnoses here, right? That's not the point. But the point is, you can take the superpowers that come with whatever your challenges may or may not be, and you can harness those bad boys and you can use them to your advantage, and then you can become one of the most beautiful classical composers that has ever walked the earth. Or you can design these things that nobody else has the ability to design, and you can accomplish great things. And I think the first step to that is probably understanding why your brain is working the way it is, or simply that it is working the way it is. Then you can harness that, and now the sky's the limit. You think so, Caroline? I mean, let me say this from before you even answer that. From the outside in, I have heard a lot about you from your mama, and I have met you now, thankfully, for the first time. You're going to do big, big stuff. There's no doubt about that. But what do you want to accomplish?
Um, I mean, like, let's see. Oh my. Like tangibly, I want to become a doctor. I want to go to medical school, and I'm still obviously trying to figure out what kind of doctor. I've been told I'd be a very good pediatrician, but also I've heard many stories from when I was a kid being around doctors. And like, I don't know if I want to chase kids around doctor's office hiding under tables to try and talk to them and give them a vaccine or something. And I'm really, really interested in mental health. So I'm thinking about being like a psychiatrist. But again, that's like 15 years of school in the future. So I definitely have some time to think about that. Um, but I guess in other forms, I'd want to be able to involve myself in as much research and opportunities as I can, take advantage of wherever I end up going to school, going to college, and whatever communities I'm involved in. Um, I just want to like see what's and risk of sounding like corny, but I just want to like see what's out there. There's so much going on, and there's going to be so much development in the upcoming years, and more opportunities that are going to be available to me that in the years before. So I don't know. I just want to explore as much as possible. I also really want to travel, just for fun, not specifically for any career development reasons. I just love traveling and learning new languages and cultures, and that's definitely a huge goal of mine.
So let me ask you a little bit further, because it's easy to talk about things like ADHD in a negative light, like here's all the problems, here's all the problems. So let's say to accomplish the educational or travel goals that you have, if any, in what ways do you think ADHD could help you accomplish those things?
Um, I mean, I think it'll help me with my curiosity and choosing different things to be involved in and actually finding the motivation to do those different things. I think it'll definitely help with that. And also, I guess, moving along through those things and continuing to do them if I'm actually passionate and interested about them. But I also think that having ADHD could potentially make it harder for me to find those opportunities and experiences, especially in like the like actual planning stages of it,
Mm-hmm.
because my mom knows more than everyone. That's a little bit difficult for me. So I think I'm just gonna have to learn more how to ask for help when I need it, and then go out on my own and use that help to learn and experience things how I can.
Self advocacy. That's been the theme of this podcast, and something that I can assure you, Caroline, no matter how it feels right now, I can assure you that you are well ahead of schedule on self advocacy. You probably, that won't mean anything to you for a long time, but one of these days, hopefully, you look back or listen to this again and you're like, man, that moron really said something that mattered. And that is that you are ahead of schedule. You're doing very, very well. Um, Janice, you kind of already asked, like, if there were something that Caroline wishes other people knew, what would that be? That was kind of the big question for me, and I think she did a great job answering that. But I do want to, unless you have anything else, Janice, I do want to repose that question in maybe a little bitty different way.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, go.
Caroline, kind of a repeat of the question before. Um, but if there were one thing, just one, and this is tough because I just want you to come up with one. If there were one thing that you want to say to other people, people that you know, people that you don't know, when you're at Kroger, when you're at Walmart, whatever, if they're just like, what do you wish, one thing you wish somebody else would know?
Oh my. I mean, I have to say, I'm like a very, very open book. So someone can come up to me in Walmart and ask me literally anything, and I will probably answer it truthfully. um, but I mean, I don't really want them to know I have ADHD. Not it's like it's something that I hide, but I don't want them to form no, I don't want them to form an opinion about me. I don't want them to form an opinion about me based off of something that I can't control.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so honestly, I don't know. I think I don't want them to know anything about me without them asking me first. I want them to know something about me because they actually chose to know something about me and they interacted with me and asked about me and something like that. If that makes sense, or that might just be me dodging the question.
Dude, you did
You'll never
not
know.
dodge it
But
whatsoever. That is so much gold. You don't even have any idea. Like, You don't want any, let's just say diagnosis. You don't want any issue, diagnostic or otherwise, to define who you are. You want them to know you and love you for you and respect that, not about whatever it is that makes you you. Did I get that right?
Yes.
I finally got something right. Let's go. Caroline, that is so unbelievably, I mean, it's wild that so many things in my head right now.
Yeah.
Without disrespect, because one of the things I should have told you this before we got on here, Caroline. One of the things that I despise when I was pre 20 years old and in my 20s is when people older than you say or assume that you don't know things that are profound or you can't contribute because of your age. I despise that generation define you thing. I really hate it. So at the risk
I
of
hate it so much. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Me too. So at the risk of sounding like one of the people that I don't like, I genuinely think that you're speaking a language and understanding things well beyond what your age is. And that's a really, really beautiful thing that sets you up not just to learn how to manage your own challenges that you have because of ADHD or whatever else. Maybe your stomach hurts when you eat spicy food, whatever. Like you have learned, to like manage yourself, but you've also already learned how to use that skill with other people. And if you want my unsolicited opinion, that's just putting a rocket on your back and lighting the fuse, because you can accomplish anything you want to if you keep developing those skills. That's super cool. Janice and Caroline, is there anything else you guys want to throw out? Because obviously I have to stop myself from asking questions at some point.
Well, yes. Well, Caroline, is there anything really quickly that you wanted, or not even really quickly, but is there anything you wanted to say?
No, I'm saying really quickly that I'm running inside because my phone is at 5%, but I can still talk. I'm just inside.
Okay. So first of all, Michael, a throwback to, I think, our first or third episode, I don't remember, but we were talking about grace, and that we talk about grace all the time, and I think that's been just a theme, official or unofficial theme of our podcast is grace. And after we finished an episode, I texted you and I said, Caroline's middle name is Grace. And I think now, after this conversation, there's something even more sort of magical about that. And I just wanted to point that out on air this time, because she's all that in a bag of chips.
Oh, God.
That was such a... Let me follow up on that, Caroline, as far as like pats on the back go. That was far out. That's what your mom says. That's far out. That's dope. That's sweet.
She's talked about so many things, and about I think just seeing you, and I think, Michael, for our other conversations that we've had, and that we've tried to keep trying to address in every opportunity we can, is seeing people for who they are. And that it's so great. I'm thinking a lot of Kirsten when I'm hearing Caroline talk, and about how she's all these different people, and that she's Kirsten, not only a mom of a kid with autism, like that she has. There's a lot of her that she's amazing, and she is also, by definition, grace. And so when I hear Caroline talking about who she is, and how she wants to be seen, and how she wants to be known, and how she wants to be celebrated for who she is, I'm thinking about all the people that we've talked to on the podcast, and about how we're all sort of looking for that same thing, is to have a little grace for people to see us, and then also to, as Caroline said, to see other people through a lens of grace too, that everybody's got a story. And it's so funny how, the more conversations we have, we sort of underscore some of those same things, and here we are with this amazing kid. Can I call you a kid, Caroline? Can I do that? Is that okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. This amazing kid that I just learned so much about in the last 45 minutes.
Well, I just have one qualm, and that's really with both of you, because I'm like, age-wise, I'm sandwiched in between the two of you. And I said, because Janice said all that in a bag of chips, Caroline was like,
Yeah.
Mom. And then I was like, yeah, that's far out. Trying to go back to like the 70s in terms of colloquialisms. And both of you thought I
Yeah.
was being real. You both were like dead silent. And I was like, no, I'm kidding. Like, it's a joke. I don't say far out. So, ultra respect from you, Caroline. And also, Janis, what the heck, man? You know me better than that. I don't say that.
I was trying to throw you a bone on that one. I'm sorry. I
No,
wasn't
it's all
sure.
good. Just let me be weird and awkward silence. I'm good at it.
Okay.
I'm certainly used to it. Caroline,
Yeah.
good night. Thank you so much. What a wonderful human being you are, and I've never met your dad, but props to your mom and dad for helping you accomplish what you've accomplished so far, and being open. I mean, this is not an easy conversation for anybody, and so that is not deaf on either of us. We are very well aware, and are super thankful for that. And just know that you're always, always, always welcome on the Autism Exchange podcast. And if your mom's ever too mean, you got my number now, so you can text me and tell me what she did, and I will absolutely roast her on the next episode that we have. So I got your back.
Good to know.
He has and he will again, so it's okay.
No shame in my game. Caroline, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys too. I'll look forward to watching. Maybe, I don't know. I don't like hearing myself, but I'll listen to the other episodes before and after this.
Well, listen to
Thank
this one
you
too.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
All right.
Well, thanks a
All
lot,
right. Thank you
Caroline.
so much.
Guys, this has been the Autism Exchange podcast, where we aim to communicate and collaborate. We are trying to foster real communication, real conversation, in which these beautiful nuggets are underscored, as Janis said. We invite you guys to join us. This is an incredible journey for us. We're always motivated simply to share this message with as many people as we can. And our goal is to make the world a better place by just loving people for being people. And this has been another just amazing, amazing conversation. I cannot wait to go back and listen to this again. This is great. Janis, thank you for opening up your family to us as well. This is a wonderful idea and a wonderful conversation that I think we need to have part 2 for everybody, maybe.
I think so. It should be just sort of built into the contract.
I think so
yeah.
too. All right, guys, this has been the Autism Exchange podcast. Again, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe our podcast. You can find that on Apple. You can find it on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts, you will find us. Search for the Autism Exchange. We would really appreciate subscriptions, likes, reviews. We want your feedback. info.autismexchange@gmail.com. You can send us ideas, topics, feedback. We just want to hear from you. Thank you all very much. And for Janis Krempa, I am Michael Coldiron. This has been the Autism Exchange.
I just want to give another shout out to Caroline. How awesome is she?
I can't believe her age. Like, that doesn't add up. Like, she speaks like a 30-year-old.
He's a I'm so proud of her.
You should be proud of her. And, hey, I'm proud of you, too. You're raising a good one. Like, she's going to do big stuff. Janis, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good, Michael. See you soon.
See
Bye.
ya.